Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my OG, got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my OG, got me locked in on cup though.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL. It's Wednesday night. It's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to PSGL Round 3 here at the fantastic Silverstone circuit in the fantastic country which is the British Isles. I was going to say Great Britain, but it says there anyway. Anyway, we're all looking very suave here today. I'm looking quite dapper in my suit. Thank you very much. And Josh,
yes,
hello. You're looking very nice in your Peaky Blinder outfit you've got on today.
Thank you very much. I'm about to go fox hunting, unfortunately. No, terrible. But here we are, round 3, Silverstone. We all know the circuit. It's an instant classic. It's personally my favourite track on the calendar, and I know it's a favourite for a few of the drivers we've got here racing today, but oh my word, thank the Lord your train actually took us to Silverstone this time.
I know, honestly, I was a bit worried for a minute. We got lost in a few places,
yeah,
but we eventually found our way back here from Bahrain. It was tricky.
Unfortunately, Jarno isn't in this split today. Sorry to tell you, chat, he's not here. Maybe
one day, maybe. One day
we'll get Jarno in. But we're here. F6 is looking good. I saw a few of the drivers doing a bit of practice earlier. It's looking like it's going to be another competitive show, and I, for one, cannot wait for it.
Gotta love a competitive race. We've obviously, me and Josh have now had the pleasure to commentate quite a few competitive races in the last few weeks. But I think we love F6 mostly. It's fantastic F6 racing. If you think that, F6, they're probably a bit slower than the front guys. No, that's not what we're looking at here. We have thousandths of a second differences between top 10 drivers, maybe even top 20 if we're lucky.
I'll tell you, that's not the only thing which is really close. If we swap over real quick to the driver's standings here, we can see barely anything separates this entire grid. It's quite honestly, it's too close to call. And,
I think it sounds like you've got a call on your
Yeah, no, didn't have a call on my phone. That was just a notification to say we've got to go live in a minute, but we're here early to come and spoil you guys.
Yes.
So, we've got very small gaps throughout the entire grid, thanks to this brilliant point system PSGL's decided to come up with.
I like it. I think they should use it more often in more motorsports. I don't think it'd work in F1, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean it's looking good. The constructors as well, as you could imagine, is just as close, with Alpine still leading the way, but that Ferrari car is right behind, and we know drivers like Sanya and Adam aren't ones to be taken lightly. We saw them at Interlagos. We saw the Swiss powerhouses, if you will, absolutely dominating. So we saw team play back for the first race of the season. What do we think going in Silverstone? Because there's an awful lot of time you can gain by working together and using like different strategies, implementing it, and we know what the hard tyres are like around here.
We certainly do. It'll be interesting to see, because obviously the one main thing with Silverstone is unlike a lot of climates we've been to already. We went to Bahrain last weekend and it was very hot, very humid. But in Silverstone, it's Britain. You never know what rain you're gonna get. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's really wet. We have no clue. We're wearing suits right now, but it could be just pouring down with rain when we get onto the track.
I might need to go get my brolly, but
yeah.
A little earlier today, we recorded a lovely little track guide for you guys. Just so, if you're not very familiar with Silverstone and the layout, this track guide should be able to give you a little view of what it's like from a bird's eye point of view. Welcome to Great Britain, the birthplace of Formula One, and home to the legendary Silverstone circuit. Over the years, the historic track has produced great racing year on year. The 3.6 mile circuit is composed of 18 corners, including Copse, Stowe, and how could you forget Maggots and Becketts. With the 2 DRS zones in action today, it is destined for great racing. Let's get underway for PSGL F6 Race 3. There you go. It is almost time for the race. We've got a couple minutes before people start readying up. So, what have you discovered in Alex's notebook, we should say?
Well, my notebook is something we did mention as we jumped into the lobby is Sangar has the Swiss driver mark on today, as he's representing the Swiss nation. Now, would you like to know how many Swiss drivers have won the British Grand Prix?
Are we counting today's result? Because if so, I think we might need to add a +1 to that tally, because Sanya and Adam have been on good form. I'm going to guess Swiss, 2.
It's close. 3 British drivers. 3 British drivers. 3 Swiss drivers have won the British Grand Prix. Them being in 1949 with Emmanuel de Gerefrind.
Definitely not butchered.
That's definitely not butchered. In 1968 with Joe Sifter, I think.
Ooh, okay.
And the last Swiss driver to win in 1979 with Clay Ragazzoni, but could be a 4th Swiss driver with Sangar here today.
Yeah, I mean, Sangar and Adam as well, until he had that unfortunate spin. But, boy oh boy, do I have a question for you.
Oh.
How much of the Silverstone circuit is done on full throttle?
Well,
I'll give you to the 5%.
Give me the 5%, right. Well, now I do know the fact that 8% of this track is on brakes.
Absolutely, that is correct, yeah.
So if I was going to take a estimated guess at full throttle, it would be 65%.
Are you in my notes? It's 70%.
Oh, I was going to say
very
70.
close.
I thought it was too high.
Very close. Obviously, Silverstone, we saw loads of great races throughout the years. I mean, wet weather masterclasses. And we've seen a fair bit of contact, but we had a couple of messages in the Discord earlier saying everyone's hoping for a nice clean race without the likes of rain. Aaron Sanger is asking, are you joining? No, we've come up with our own solution for both of us to be able to commentate from the same perspective to give you guys more of a wholesome togetherness as a feeling. But it's nice to see Sanger in chat. And
yes.
Fingers crossed, and best of luck to all the drivers who are listening in currently. Because if it starts raining, oh boy, are we going to be in for a good race.
Well, don't worry, I have my rain jacket just in case it does start raining.
I might need to go pop and get a brolly.
Well, you got your hat.
I got my hat, but it's not going to keep me dry, is it? Let's be honest.
That lovely suit you're wearing your lovely overcoat.
Yeah, thank you. It's my best Gareth Southgate impression. But no, a couple things about this track. It's a very high downforce, technically flowing circuit. Oh no,
Get your
ladies and
clouds
gentlemen,
out.
I need to. Welcome to Great Britain, the birthplace of Formula One, and home to the legendary Silverstone. So you saw what it was like earlier at the start of the day. This is what it's like now, unfortunately. It looks a little bit wet.
It does look very wet. It's full wet here at Silverstone, which
Indeed
will
it is.
change how the drivers were planning on driving this session, because driving in the full wet and driving in, well, obviously driving in the dry, very different kind of a circuit, and especially around Silverstone, where we have a lot of this track still full throttle. It'll be interesting to see what happens here with these drivers. I'm gonna have to put on my rain jacket here, so
Yeah.
because it's very wet.
Absolutely.
You're taking your hat off.
I
That's
have.
dangerous.
I have took my hat off. Thankfully, people at home don't have to look at us dressing and undressing ourselves. But something they
course.
might need to have a look at here is the cars coming out. We've already got Naoichi. Naoki? Yeah.
Yeah, now okay, that's
Naoki.
right.
Running the number 76 on that Williams, and my word, does it look wet out here.
Oof.
I would not like to be out in these cars in this sort of condition. I wouldn't like to be driving them. I wouldn't want any part of it. I wouldn't even want to be in the crowd. This is absolutely torrential downpour.
Well, luckily in the commentary box we are safe from this rain, but yeah, no, that is treacherous conditions right here. Dangerous conditions here at Silverstone. This track, as we were saying about just before, 70% full throttle. You can see how much the Williams is struggling there just to put traction down.
Yeah. I mean, we can
and
even pop up the telemetry here just to. I know. Huge lips going through Coppswell on the approach to Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. Let's have a look, taking it nice and cautiously. And to be quite honest, you can't really see the elevation change too well unless you're driving in sort of a cockpit cam. But this is realistically the closest we're going to get with a spectator mode. But you can still see there's a slight incline going through Beckett's, which can really throw the car off in the dry, let alone in the wet. Oh, my word. It feels good to be back home.
It does. Well, back home, weather is just how I like it. It was not anything like this in Bahrain at all. It was very dry and dusty. But we got a lap for the Williams here. Would you want me to take us through the lap? I'll take us through the lap, shall I?
Absolutely. Would you like to hop on board?
I'll hop on board with the
There we
Williams
go.
driver here as we go down the first back straight, renamed the Hamilton straight after Hamilton's knighthood a couple of years ago. But look how treacherous that is. Usually that first corner is full throttle, just running it in 6th gear. Heavy braking zone once again. Trying to ignore the curbs there. I imagine that those are going to be slippery as hell through those corners, but he's looking very nice through set of corners. A lot of these drivers will be running higher fuel loads because they want to do multiple laps. Oh, it's just almost loses the car there on the exit. Very heavy snap in 6th gear, I believe it was. It wasn't even that low of a gear, but he's looking quite steady through this first lap. Bit wide here, but taking the wet line through the corner. The dry and wet line are very different. Down into 3rd gear, that's dangerous at all. But now through the right-hander as we head up through what was the former pit straight, changed in 2011. And now through one of the fastest corners in the dry, but it's a lot different in the wet. He's going to run a bit wide. No, he keeps that in very nicely indeed. And through a section of track, which is so beautiful, Maggots and Beckett down into 6th gear here. He's still taking so much speed through the corners, even though it's wet, riding those curbs very nicely indeed. Usually DRS would open down the hangar straight, but no such luck here in the wet.
No, sir. No DRS.
No DRS enabled. Heavy braking zone for the right-hander. Down into 5th gear. Now down into 4th. He gets the power back on gently through the exit. Careful not to invalidate on the left-hand side there. 3 corners to go. Puts it down to 3rd gear. Wants to ride very carefully on the throttle. And now getting your accelerator down for the final right-hander. He slides it through the final corner. And it's a 39.6 as our first lap here in qualifying. That you can just see how treacherous those conditions are.
Yeah, no, you could definitely see it. It's slipping and sliding all over the shop. Very, very treacherous out there, and drivers are being awfully brave, if I do say so myself, on these very harsh curbs around Silverstone, which isn't quite often pointed out enough. As on board with Eric here, who seems to be coming across the line. Notice how he's not using as much of the curbs, and he's going out of his way to avoid some of the paint on the circuit. Probably the sort of drive I would attempt to do. Let's say.
We've just had an incident.
Yeah.
On the entrance of Maggots and Beckett's. I believe what's happened is Timo's gone round, and he's collided with the Mercedes driver.
Was it not
Yeah,
Seb?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seb went round and he collided with a Mercedes driver, giving them 5-place grid penalties. Also, I just want to see the Alpine of your heart hurts, mine does. He's put on the intermediate tyre. Now that is brave.
Yeah, I picture the Alpines going to sit in the garage for a little bit and debate what on earth their engineering crew are thinking trying to get this to go out on intermediates. Because it's heavy rain and it does not look like it's stopping as Seb decides to call it back in the pits after that little excursion. But no, we've got a full grid today. Very thankful for. And someone we will have to keep an eye out is Sanya. As mentioned before in the pre-qualifying little segment, Ferrari have been incredible so far this year. Up there with the Alpines, really competitive, and you can see how hard Sanya is pushing for this lap to try and get the best possible.
I took a gasp there. I did take an audible gasp. That is treacherous in that Ferrari. Comes around to the final corner. It might pay off though, but it's in third fastest. That Williams lap is looking very competitive indeed. As currently it's pole position. I say that as the commentator curse strikes as Dustin Vincent does a 39.1. That does, I would assume, obviously you've got 20 drivers driving around this Silverstone track. Now, did you know how many litres of water these full wet tyres get rid of?
If I'm not mistaken, isn't it like 6 gallons per second?
I believe it. It's 6 or 5 gallons per second. It's a ridiculous amount of water they remove. So if the rain's slowing down, if it's looking towards sort of more light rain, then these drivers will clear up this track very quickly, and we will see times tumble down the order. We saw that in Silverstone this year in qualifying. As I remember, we watched Sergio Perez put the fastest lap time on the board, and he fell down to 16th at the end of qualifying because the times were improving.
Yeah, I mean, there's no surprise there, and I'm not just saying that because I'm not particularly a great fan of Sergio Perez. But the amount of water which gets shifted by these tyres is absolutely remarkable. And to be quite honest, we could be seeing the intermediate tyres towards the end of the session. Maybe that's what the Alpine's waiting for, all the way down around P17. Still not setting even an installation lap.
Well,
but
there
Lundell, absolutely beautiful lap there. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2. Tops it off with a little spicy purple sector 3. Really, really well put together lap there. Very impressive. But someone else who seems to be absolutely wailing his car around the track is Adam in the Ferrari, the number 6.
Number 6 Ferrari driver, looking good. Ferrari, the most successful constructor here, I believe, in Formula 1.
You are correct.
I'm very surprised at that. I imagine Mercedes are quite close on that list of successful, just because of Lewis. How many races he's won around here.
He is the most successful driver. But we did have to point out as well, we did a bit of research. Now, it's not often we'll get in the car and do a little bit of discovery, but we braved it. And in the dry, they were losing 2.8 kilograms worth of fuel for every lap they did, right?
Yes.
So we can roughly assume that to be a little bit less because it's in the wet, but that means they don't have to carry as much. So we might see a little bit less fuel burn as Adam comes across there. P10, he was kind of tiptoeing around that last sector. Let's be quite frank here.
Yes, he was.
Very cautious. Probably could have put a little bit more out there, but it's always great to get a banker in. And someone else I've noticed here are the McLarens in 16th and 17th, taking it super cautiously. It looks like the rain's getting worse.
I just like to keep an eye on, as well as Danica goes 8th fastest. Your Heart Hurts has just started a flying lap on a set of intermediate tyres.
Let's take a little jump across.
Oh, he's on full wets. It says Inter's on the left-hand side, but he's on full wets. He's decided that rain is not slowing down, and he's going to carry on. Well, let's see what he can do here. He was sitting in the garage for quite some time, and if the track, as you said, has got worse, then this is a bad call for Alpine, because they're going to start further down.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the McLarens which came across the line there, they weren't able to improve a lap time, but Purple Sector 1, it's looking quite good for this Alpine. Now, I'm not going to commentate curse it. We don't want any of that. As we see...
We never commentate curse.
No, absolutely not. Commentating curses, they're not for us. Do you know what is for us? A GT Omega chair. You can upgrade your racing cockpit now. Don't forget to use code PSGL at checkout for a discount. I know,
Oh, Jesus.
Get me on the advertising team. Absolutely remarkable.
Remarkable. What was also remarkable was how well your heart hurts held onto that through Cop's corner. That was sideways through Cop's corner as he does another purple sector there. And
It's looking good.
It is looking good. I don't know if this is, of course, this might be just the purple sectors of of his personal laps, or it could be of the actual sector. We'll find out soon.
I believe it is of actual sector. Let's just hope that he's able to keep it nice and tight through this last sector, keep that car in check, make sure it doesn't get out of balance. Oh, as it almost went there, and he's just able to pip to the top of the times.
Amazing.
By 100th of a second, and I don't want to say we've been spoiled so far this season, but they are definitely the gaps we've kind of been getting used to in a roundabout way.
Very much so indeed. That was an incredible lap. That's what we call on the limit right there, in terms of lap times. We see the Williams drive instantly invalidate there on the left-hand side. And that's the worst feeling is invalidating your lap either at the very beginning, which means you have to go round again, or at the very end, because you get double invalidation then as well.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate there, but Williams is absolutely drifting around these corners, coming around Aintree. That is impressive, the amount of control. But these drivers, they would have practiced for this. They would know what stormy conditions are like. You can't go to a British Grand Prix and expect it not to rain.
No, exactly. If it doesn't rain, then it's not the British Grand Prix.
Exactly, it's all part of the package. And someone else who seems to be trying to put a lovely little package together is Alvaro Fernandez. Slowly building up that car, taking potentially 2 outlaps here. Which,
yeah, it could be 2 warm-up laps.
Yeah, potentially. Could be the way forward to make sure those wet tyres are kept up to heat. But he decides, after 2 laps, to bring it back into the pits.
He's heard our advice and didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
no, I mean, we're just trying to help. Come on, guys. No, we've got a lot of good quality drivers still out on track, including Danny Coe. 10th down in that first sector as he's about to cross here for the second sector. In the non-chrome McLaren. I feel like we might be seeing a lot of these drivers here realising that without the other cars in front of them to shift that water, it's going to be very, very difficult to be able to try and improve a lap time. And we're seeing a lot of them come and dive into the pits. I mean, it's fair enough, but do have to have a quick shout out here to Sparky.
Oh, he's invalidated.
Have you noticed anything?
He's on Inters.
He is on Inters.
This could be quite a lap. If he hasn't got 2 invalidations in a row, I'd like to stay on board with Sparky, and let's take you through his intermediate lap here. He puts his 6th fastest. He does. Okay, he stays 6th. So through turn 1 here, you can see that car is right on the edge of being able to make it through turn 1. He was flat through that corner, pretty much in the wet, which is very risky indeed. And all the drivers right now will be looking at Sparky's lap and saying, can we improve on a set of intermediates? And I'm going to say they can. This looks like it's into weather with 4 minutes to go. Sparky might be our first driver to set on Inters, which you might think is an advantage. It's not. It's probably a curse, because everyone else is going to go faster behind you, as he just matches the first sector time with a 31. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, something we should probably point out to the lovely ladies and gentlemen back at home is you'll be able to see this perhaps what you might describe as a dryer line forming, but it's not actually dryer. That'll be all the grease and the grit and the dirt off the tyres, all being rubbed out onto this new patch here, which makes the traditional racing line very, very, very slippy. So it's absolutely miraculous that he's able to get through Manx and Beckett's here while staying on the line. What we might see is some of the drivers pull off the line to perhaps cool down their wet tyres if they decide to stay out on wets, but he's 3 temps up in that middle sector. Surely it's crossover point now, no?
Yeah, this is it. This is the lap that everyone will be paying attention to. 3 minutes 30 left on the clock. Sparky is at full push here. I wouldn't be surprised if he's fueled up for a few laps. He's got the final corners to go, but finding 3 tenths in the middle sector, he is just proving to everyone that it's time for a set of intermediate tyres. Sparky comes around the final corner now, puts it on provisional pole with a 38.6. But expect that time to absolutely tumble, as I'm sure Sparky carries on for another push lap here.
Absolutely will, as we're on board now with Emil. in a Mercedes on his outlap, also rocking the intermediate tyres. Unfortunately, we can't get a graphic up to see who's on the intermediates, but you would have to think that everyone is on these tyres at the minute.
Everyone's out.
Everyone should be out on these intermediate tyres, otherwise it's an absolutely massive gamble and perhaps a huge blunder by some of the teams.
It will be the last person that crosses the line will win qualifying. If you don't mess up your lap and you're the last person to cross the line, you will win because the track will be at its best right at the end.
So perhaps are you calling for maybe an Adam or your heart hurts to potentially snap the pole here?
I think that's what they're going to be doing. I think your heart hurts will know that he's now on an outlap right now. He's just come out of the pits along with Adam behind.
Yeah.
As long as those two don't mess up their flying laps, they should be 1 and 2 on the grid. But we'll see. Maybe my prediction is wrong. But I've been pretty good at guessing things over the last couple of weeks. Let's see if he can get one right here as Emil begins to flying laps.
So close.
So close to a validation. It's just on the crossover point, which means it's still tricky for these drivers out here. But the Mercedes driver is looking good of Lundell here. I believe they might have a 5-second time penalty though, if I'm 5-place grid penalty. I'm not mistaken. They're the ones that collided with the Aston Martin.
Yeah, potentially. Could be looking at that. Let's see if we can. There we go. That's a bit more representative. So you can see the drivers who are out on the intermediate tyres. Oh boy. Oh
Do you
boy.
feel out on wet still?
Oh boy. Do we think perhaps it was more of a strategic call that the rain might get heavier? Perhaps Sparky just timed his lap perfectly right, or perhaps a bit of an oversight for some of these drivers to stay on the wet tyres. But regardless, Emil is absolutely pushing this Mercedes. And,
Puma's gone second. Doesn't improve onto pole position. As Seb improves, didn't have a lap time on the board, but now goes fastest with a 38.1. You're going to see these times absolutely tumble. Nadi Perez goes onto the front row as well. Those guys that cross the line now do have time for another flying lap. If they have enough battery left, they'll have enough time for another flying lap. Lundell is backing off here. Lundell knows that they need to cross the line last to get pole position.
Yeah, no, Lundell knows the situation he's been put in. A lot of these drivers will be in very similar situations. Perhaps having a little Hungary traffic jam of our own here at the Silverstone circuit today, going into Vale and Club. But no, these lap times are going to start falling away as Nowicki comes in with a 37.8. I mean,
Daniel with a 37.6, times are tumbling.
Danico
goes
38.4, yeah.
10 seconds left on qualifying.
It's all heating up, but someone I believe we should probably have a look at, if they wouldn't mind ruining the timing sheet and making me stop to the wrong camera, is Aaron Sanger, who might not have enough time to get another lap in.
No, he doesn't.
Sparky, David, they're finished. Dawid all the way up to P3. That's very impressive for the AlphaTauri. Sanya comes across the line.
Provisional
Smashes
pole.
it. It's looking good so far.
It's a long way before it's over this qualifying session. There is still so many drivers yet to cross the line. People improving on full wet tyres as well.
Zandy, 4 attempts up on the wet tyre.
He might put himself a few places. Oh, wow, he was sideways through that final corner, but doesn't improve enough to put themselves up into the top 10. Someone has just gone faster as well. Seb's just gone 4th fastest. Your heart hurts. Didn't improve his lap time. I know he's still pushing now, and he's a second up. Adam is also up on his lap time. Are we going to see a Ferrari 1-2 here, or is your heart's going to mess up the party? Adam round the final corner here for Ferrari, crosses the line, only 7th fastest. That is a surprise. That is a shock.
Stephen Frufar coming through next here. In the Haas, absolutely drifting those wet tyres around. Shaving 1.5 off, but the Alpine of your heart hurts, my does, ends up coming across there. So
Not
far.
by a lot. Oh, but Daniel!
Emil's still there.
7. Emil doesn't improve. Oh, wow. That is a cracking lap from Daniel at the end. Is there anyone else improving their lap times? The AlphaTauri crosses the final corner, goes 12th fastest. Dustin, is he on a lap?
Dustin is on a lap.
7 times up. Puts himself 7th fastest. Is there anyone else out? There's Patrick, who's out on a lap. I don't know if he's still pushing.
Invalidated.
He's validated. And that is it. That's qualifying over.
Oh, my word.
The Haas team are on pole position here around Silverstone. Wow.
You know, I'm grateful we're sitting in the commentary box and not struggling with the weather here.
Yeah.
No, it was Seb who ended up picking up the penalty. I thought so.
Seb.
Seb. It's unfortunate. But we got Gott's Chalk in the Haas, P1. Your Heart Hurts My Does in the Alpine P2. And Sanya rounding out the top 3 there.
Wow, improved by 0.3 of a second. That's the biggest gap we've seen so far between pole and second. Might be the biggest gap we've seen from first to 15th.
Yeah, but we do have to have a short ad break here with your sponsors for this season, GTO Maker. Oh, it is back to us here. Alex is just getting back changed. I've took the hat off.
It was wet outside. I had to put the hood on.
Great news, though. It's a magical coat. It's no longer raining.
Dry.
It is dry. And oh my word, is it looking like an absolutely cracking race here today? We've got 20 drivers around Silverstone in what should be a very slippy circuit because of the rain yesterday.
It's still clouds. There is still quite low clouds here at Silverstone. Are we going to see some rain during the race? That would spice things up.
Potentially. The drivers are all currently adjusting their strategies and changing some cars, changing some different setup parts of their cars. Obviously, it's all in the Parc Fermé, but
but we're going to be getting underway very soun.
We will
unfortunately, we have no clue of when the race is going to start because there's no timer anymore, which is a bit of a shame. But
let's just take a mention here. Oh, never mind. Here we go.
We got 5 red lights here for the start of the British Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go. And it's a good start from the Ferrari. Spun around. It's not a good start. Adams retired already, and I think we might have a restart here on the first lap as we have a safety car. Yeah, people are restarting here on the first lap. I think that's because of the 5-place grid penalty, unless something tragic has happened at the start of the race. But I think this is a restart.
Yeah, no, it's an unfortunate part of this year's game, but nevertheless, gives us a bit of time to talk.
Also, have an update for you.
Oh.
If we want to have a quick look in F6 General, I don't know if you can get this up on the stream, but
probably not. No, what's popping?
Well, Timo has given us a bit of an insight into what the weather is going to be doing during the British Grand Prix.
Okay. Is this anything like the last weather forecast? Because last time it told me it was going to be like 28 degrees, and when I ended up chucking it down with rain.
Well, we have, according to the weather forecast, 4 sets of overcast cloud, a light rain cloud, heavy rain cloud, and then a light rain cloud.
Oh, okay. Alright, that could be a bit interesting.
I don't know what lap the rain's coming, but possible rain incoming for the British Grand Prix.
No idea. Big shout out to people in chat. We got Tim Bayer, Kev Gaming 91 saying it's a casual F6 thing. It's not a casual F6 thing, my friend. It's a casual EA thing, unfortunately, with this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, every lobby has to restart if there is a grid penalty. Unfortunately, it's the rules.
Yeah, because it will end up disqualifying and causing a load more problems further down the line for our timing people. It's not great, but we make the best out of these situations. So, as you can see, I've got British flags behind me, waving them nice and proud.
I don't. Yes.
So, who was the last monarch to visit the British Grand Prix?
The last monarch, because the last head of the monarchy?
Last monarch.
The last monarch was King George the Sixth.
Who was King George with?
Queen Elizabeth.
Well done. Who did they take?
Elizabeth.
Who did they take?
What?
Who did they take?
Who did they take?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not part of their family clans.
Oh, dear. He's not a true British person if he can't recite the entire
what year
royal
was it?
family. Forward back
What
was
year was it?
1950.
It was.
I've watched Sky Sports enough to know that documentary plays every single hour before the Silverstone Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? We shouldn't give
It's
mention
great.
to Sky.
No, we absolutely should not. Because they don't provide free entertainment like this.
No, exactly. They don't look. We've dressed up for our
Look, when was the last time you saw Ted Kravitz or Martin Brundle dress up like this?
or Paul de Resta.
Okay. Speaking of which,
Yeah. Speaking of Paul de Resta.
Scottish drivers around here,
Yes.
they're on a different level. We've seen it with David Coulthard, Lucas Blakely, ignoring Paul de Resta.
Yes.
I really, really hoped we would have a Scottish driver in F6. And to my knowledge, we don't. Perhaps someone's
No.
maybe running a different flag, but my word, Scottish drivers have had a great fortune around this circuit.
They have. Obviously, we know the unspoken rule in sports that if you do well as a Scottish known person, you are British. You have the British flag, not the Scottish flag. But yes, Sir Jackie, of course, is the main representation
Yeah.
of this. He's won a lot of British Grand Prix. What was his last British Grand Prix though? Win.
Oh. I don't. You've got this cheat sheet up, haven't you? I'm going to say 63.
63. Well, 63 is the guess.
That's
And
not right. I can tell you that much.
hang on. Hang on. My page of cheat sheets has gone.
Yeah, there we go. It means I'm right. But no, obviously you
It's
had
just giving me Silverstone race winners. Like,
unlucky. Of course, as well as the likes of Sir Jackie Stewart, we've also had David Coulthard as well, popping in some absolutely phenomenal races during his time.
I know what it is now.
Oh,
1971.
71.
And he was in the Tyrrell Cosworth Mark III or 003.
If we had a Tyrrell on the grid today, where do you reckon it would be?
Well, if we had a Tyrrell on the grid today,
Yes, if they stayed.
oh, mid table.
Mid-table. I would say just above Haas, personally, I think.
Yeah. Oh, here's another interesting fact. Obviously, we have a Haas on pole today, but there was 2 years in a row where two Haas drivers collided into each other. Can you name those 2 years?
Indeed, I can. It's 2018 and 2019 with Roman Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen for both, I believe.
It was both years they collided into each other.
Now, Daniel and Stephen probably don't want us talking about this because
No.
knowing us will manifest something out of this. We'll do some voodoo
Yes.
and really curse them. But it's the race, okay?
Yeah.
And you're lining up on pole. You're on the left side of the grid.
Mm.
On the cleaner side.
Yes.
How much do you really think you want to cover off the inside going all the way down into Abbey? Because I can't particularly imagine a world where I would want to dart to the inside.
No, it's got to be very careful. Obviously, we've seen some brilliant lap one racing around Silverstone. The 2021
Yeah.
half of the first lap battle around Silverstone was fantastic.
I don't know what you mean. It was all fantastic.
If you remember, I believe actually, because that was the first weekend we had the sprint as well, the first ever
Yes.
sprint in F1.
Where Max ended up running away.
Yeah, in the first sprint race, Max got a better start on the right-hand side of the grid
Indeed.
and got ahead of Lewis. And then in the main race, Lewis got a better start than Max, but Max being Verstappen kept it round the outside, and Lewis being Lewis gave him space, which is, fair racing. Unfortunately, that fair racing ended about 7 corners later, but, lap 1 incidents are common here at Silverstone.
It's one of those. Sometimes penalties get dished out. Of course, we've got a team of stewards as well, which work tirelessly behind the scenes here at PSGL to make sure penalties are deserved and just. As I believe we're getting everyone back into the lobby.
Yes, I do have an update on the rain as well.
Yeah.
So I've been told that by our lovely man in the clouds,
Oh.
we are doing cloud heavy,
Oh.
which is apparently the closest they can get to what it was before the lobby restarted.
Okay. That's very interesting.
So we will get some rain, I think.
of course, as well, this gives drivers a chance to breathe and a chance to rethink and calculate the strategies. We've got Daniel here, who's decided to hop up in the chat. Congratulations, Daniel, on the poll.
Yep. Well done.
We want you to convert it, and we want you to have some great racing here, mate. But do you think it would ever get to a point where you got too much free time? I remember the Sakir Grand Prix after Grosjean's crash. There was way too much time for me there. I wouldn't be able to get personally into the mental state.
No.
Daniel's hoping for a good race. That's what we want. We want some great
We got
racing.
some good racing. Yeah, obviously the Grosjean thing is a great example because it was almost an hour and a half, might be 2 hours we were waiting before that race restarted, and especially after an incident like that, how do you get back into the mindset of a lot of drivers said they didn't see the incident afterwards because they were like, I don't want to see it until I'm done racing or whatever. But yeah, no, it's very interesting. Hopefully we won't get an incident like that on the lap 1 of Silverstone. But we are heading into the race now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Guan Yu Zhou back in 2022 as well. That's another incident. I mean, we saw it on the practice start, if you're going to call it that, because the game decided to have a little problem. But
a bit of a fit, yes.
Yeah, we saw it then as well, where cars were going sideways, and it wasn't due to the weather, it was just due to the track.
Yeah,
that's one of those characteristics of Silverstone. It's had its fair share of big shunts and big accidents, but for the majority, it's been fairly safe. It doesn't have the FIA International Award like Bahrain does.
Not many circuits do. Not many circuits do, it turns out. But
fingers crossed we'll be able to find one slightly further down the line. Now, I'm going to jump to this real quick, because you mentioned they changed the track.
Yeah.
Back in 2016. There we go. In order to incorporate the new straight, which being renamed Hamilton Straight. But now they don't go on the old part by bridge.
Yeah, I like that bit of the track.
I really miss it.
Yeah. I think it was good racing.
Yeah.
2003, wasn't it? That was the race that Barrichello won.
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah.
I know they did a whole bunch of construction, but yeah, it does look like we're going to get underway. The cloud's still there.
Clouds out.
No need to get the body out, no need to get the coat out, but you might want to have it on hand.
It's on hand, it's on standby. It's down there.
Okay, good. No, I can't see it.
It's below. But anyway, we're about to start the race. Here we go. For your 5 red lights here at Silverstone. It's lights out, and away we go here at Silverstone. It's a good start from our pole sitter as he heads into turn 1. The Alpine's still up the inside, but our race leader Daniel gets away well, and cars following all behind. No major incidents so far, as they're all one by one. We've got a Red Bull and an Aston off to the right-hand side there. Collision towards the back of the grid. Danico's made a good start on those soft tyres as he's looking to make his way up through the pack as he tries to get past the Mercedes here on board now with Danico as he slips to the inside and down the inside. Late braking makes the move possible as Sanger's also made his way up into second ahead of Your Heart Hurts.
Yeah, I mean,
good start.
Absolutely fantastic start to this race. Everyone being able to keep it nice, relatively clean. Obviously, we had a couple squeezes and a couple incidents going down into Village, but that's only natural. The track does shorten, as I believe we just saw.
It didn't work. It never works.
Oh, it didn't work. Fernandez is facing the wrong way. That is unfortunately had our own 2021 happen there with Fernandez, and I believe it might have been through far. Don't quote me on that,
Martin. They touched. That was never going to work. But we have a 3 wide moment here, up into the hangar straight as Sanger takes the lead of the British Grand Prix. Your Heart Hurt's going to try and dive down the inside. He thinks better of it in the end, and Sanger on those medium tyres has made an excellent start ahead of the soft runners. All right? Now we know what the weather's going to do. Soft tyres. Are they planning to go until the rain comes down?
Surely not.
And is Sanger got the same idea on those medium tyres? It's going to be a very interesting strategy here as Your Heart Hearts is pressurising our pole sitter and one-time race leader Daniel as Sanger is in the lead as it stands. The Swiss driver leading the British Grand Prix.
No, I'm trying to get a great off-board shot here. You can see all these drivers sacrificing their line coming out of Aintree to try and get the inside guaranteed going down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands. And it's kind of looking like a bit of a DRS train at the minute, but without the DRS, which is rather interesting. But we can see definitely the grip difference between, let's just say, Dustin and Nawiki as well. Grip is immensely different as Danny ends up picking up a 3-second time penalty there.
Dustin going to try up the inside of Cop's corner.
No.
We saw that before, and it's not going to work out. But is he going to try round the outside of Magus and Beckett's? No, he thinks better of it. Daniel Ricciardo tried that 1 year and backed out instantly because it's a terrible idea to go wheel-to-wheel through Magus and Beckett's. It's not possible.
Absolutely is, but watching all these cars and the amount of downforce they generate now is surely one of the best spectacles in Formula 1, on par with going up Radion and Eau Rouge. But my word, these drivers are absolutely going for it, as Daniel was able to make the pass of Sanya, but surely Sanya's going to have to start, you know, thinking about, okay, these guys are on soft tyres, there's no way they're making it till the rain.
No, it's a real good thing to think about, because Sanga, all he needs to do is stick out to the rain and he can put on a set of wet tyres. Depends how heavy the rain comes down. Sanga sticking behind Daniel right now, as we have a new fastest lap there for the for the AlphaTauri of David. And Sanga will have DRS enabled. 3 laps in, DRS does turn on. DRS activation zone is here. Drag reduction system gives you a bit more speed down the back straight. And with power of slipstream in this game, Sanga thinks better of it though. Doesn't stick behind. You wonder why they don't have a DRS straight down into Cop's corner.
I can tell you for one great reason why they don't have it. It's because Cop's is the next corner, my friend. Perhaps maybe if they had to hit the brake a little harder, there would be a potential to have it. But I think Silverstone Circuit is absolutely brilliant the way it is. As I believe we got a retirement down there, which will bring out the VSC.
2 retirements, sorry. There's been a collision.
Yeah.
We got the Williams driver and the McLaren driver out here on lap 3 of the British Grand Prix. No full safety car, only a virtual one, which is always good to see. I don't think this will change anyone's strategies majorly, but it will stall more time as the rain is coming in. You can see that those clouds are looking like they're just going to just dump a load of rain onto the circuit, which will change everything in this race.
Yeah, no, you're going to have to keep an eye out for these delta gaps as well. We know what a virtual safety like is in real life. You can very easily gain an advantage. We saw it with George Russell on Perez last season, and we're going to see it here as well, as basically Daniel gets absolutely shot coming down the Hamilton straight, with both cars being able to make a pass, and Daniel's gone round!
Daniel's round.
Daniel!
Daniel's
no!
fallen down the order. Your heart hurts. It does for Daniel right now as he gets past and he's down into 10th place. That's such a shame. It's so tricky going through that corner. He got absolutely mugged down the Hamilton straight after the restart. Sanga was completely ready for him. And Your Heart Hurts takes the lead as well. He's ahead of Sanga into after the DRS straight. Sanga trying to go round the outside on those medium tyres.
Brave around Luffield.
Oh, Luffield, he's not going to make it round there. And I don't think he's going to make a move into the Cop's corner. Unless he thinks about it. Daddy Co might. Daddy Co
he's close enough. He's close enough. Someone else who might be close enough as well is El Puma. They're all very close. This is what I mean. We just have a virtual safety car, and it seems like the pack's closed up together. It didn't really keep it in the same delta. But no. Oh my word. I cannot believe what we're witnessing here. You've got to feel for Daniel here in the car in front of us at the minute.
Yeah, Daniel, he knows what he must do to regain the lead of this race. He's got a lot of cars to overtake, but because of how close everyone is, it's very possible to find some overtaking spots. Timo trying to go past Adam as well in the Ferrari. Can't do that just yet. The Aston Martins, this is a home GP for the Aston Martins.
Yep, literally, direction the car is facing. Straight on the left Hamilton straight, you will find the Aston Martin factory. It's absolutely stunning. Obviously, they've got big upgrades coming in real life. Got a new wind tunnel being made. It's all absolutely fantastic. Have you ever been to Silverstone?
I haven't. I've been. Well, obviously I'm here now, but I haven't ever been. No, I would love to though. Timo really, I'd say, giving Adam a bit of a push there through through the corners. Timo wants to get past the Ferrari here. Can he dive up the inside? And he will. Down into Luffield. Can he go around the outside, of Luffield? And I think he might just pull it off. What a move from Timo around the outside of the Ferrari. That is beautiful from the Aston Martin driver. The boys back at the factory will enjoy that one.
Yeah, reminds me of a video I was showing you a little earlier in the week. But less about that and more on about this race. Because we saw Adam lose touch of DRS and Timo's going to be struggling. because of this. It doesn't matter how much he pushes through Mags and Beckett's, there's no way he's going to be able to game with a couple attempts. So we got a little DRS train forming. Surely you've got to be keeping an eye out here for Lundell. On the hard tyre, rocking P4. It's all looking very good.
It depends when that rain comes down, doesn't it? If Lundell has pulled a masterclass and he'll have the grip when the rain comes down, compared to the guys around him, then yeah, it's the best call of the day we've seen so far. Watching those cars come through that first corner is absolutely breathtaking. So much downforce on those cars. It's so easy just to you're just basically moving the steering wheel a bit right to get it flat through a corner. And these drivers are doing it with no effort at all. As we go down to see Sanga maybe have a go here on Your Heart Hurts down into this corner. I don't know if he's got close enough. He sticks behind him once again. Dustin has made his way past Stephen Fruhar though into 5th place, and Daniel is on the charge as well. Daniel up into P9. Sanga just pressurizing Your Heart Hurts. He knows he's on the superior tyre for the time being, but how long will that advantage last? Probably not very long. This is a very braced track. I thought I saw Sanga go a bit wide there.
I believe he did. Yeah,
Danny goes right on him.
Yeah, Danny seemed to get a really good run there. But Sanya, something we've noticed about him in the 3 races so far this season, absolutely incredible ERS management. That's something we're seeing here today. A whole 10% on Danny behind him, and Lundell directly behind them. As Diego, I am so sorry, your main man Alvaro Fernandez has ended up picking up a 5-second penalty there. It's unfortunate, and we hate to see penalties given out by the game, because end of the day, sometimes the game might be a bit unreliable, but it's in dry conditions. I think it's fairly safe to say that might be a lock and shut. As Sanjay takes the lead back, and My Heart Hurts is not taking that one easily.
No, he is sticking behind Sanga all the way. I tell you, these soft tyres will last if you know what you're doing with them. They are a very good race tyre this year. Incredibly good race tyre, which if you were looking at last year's game, you wouldn't think about touching them at all during any sort of race. Your Heart Hurts thinks about it, but doesn't want to lose the DRS advantage that he'll get if he can keep behind Sanga through Maggots and Beckett. But he's still got so much more grip than Sanga, it looks like. I wonder if those mediums are quite cold around this very overcast day here at Silverstone.
Yeah, track temperatures are a little chillier than what they would normally expect, but thankfully for them, it's not raining. Which is definitely the silver lining takeaway here. It means all their hard work for the setups don't all go to waste, but you can see how much quicker these soft tyres are. It doesn't look like too much when you're riding off-board, but when you're on-board, you can definitely see this Alpine easily closing up to the back of Ferrari, not even having to use battery and just gliding past with the DRS. While Danico in P3 seems to not be able to, achieve the same sort of results as My Heart Hurts.
No, he's not using those soft tyres to the bigger set of advantage.
I'll tell you what he needs to do. Paint the McLaren chrome.
Yes, I agree. Also, I'd just like to say, riding on board there with Your Heart Hurts, did I see drops of rain coming down on the halo? It looked like small drops of rain. I might have been seeing things, but it seemed like there might have been a bit of rain coming down.
Let's hop on board with the Mercedes here and see if we can find any of George Russell's sweat.
Yes, it might be. I just thought I might have seen it through the vision, but it kind of looked like rain. Maybe not at this stage of the race, but always when rain's scheduled to come down, drivers get very paranoid, and you never know what you're going to see. As we're going to see El Puma make another move. Adam's just going backwards at this point. It's not working for him. These soft tyres in the Ferrari, while everyone else is making their move past, Adam is dropping down out of the points there for Ferrari. Not good at all to see for Ferrari, especially with his teammate up in 2nd place.
Yeah, no, you got to start thinking constructor-wise. We've both got a Ferrari and an Alpine outside the points. What are the other two? Fighting for P1, P2. Now, I do believe Your Heart Hurts may or may not be Napadovsky in disguise. Now, I don't know whether it's the relentless pace or the fact he's driving the Alpine, but something just seems a little but no, as we see, the two constructors leading the championship, running towards the front, and this is something which I did not expect, unless it could be another opportunity to go on soft tyres.
Well, Now that is a surprise. I'm surprised he pitted very early. This is a very slow pit lane, 32 miles an hour to be exact. He is putting on the medium tyres. I was going to say it would have been very early pit stop if he was thinking about inters. Or considering it's apparently heavy rain coming down, very full wets would have been the choice. But yeah, he is into the pits there. And I do wonder if that is an incredibly early pit stop. Is he planning to undercut Sanger? But surely Sanger's going until the rain comes.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends when this rain will come, because, as you mentioned, it's still in quarters. So we're basically coming up to halfway through the race, which means there would only be, what, perhaps another 7 laps left?
Yeah.
Of dry running before the rain absolutely starts pelting it down, and we're going to have to think about maybe just darting straight to wet tyres, let alone using intermediates.
Well, that'll be the decision of the strategy teams and of course the drivers. They'll decide what the circuit's going to do, and if it's just going to start chucking it down with rain, maybe sticking on those full wets isn't a bad option. Well, Sanger is now in the lead, still got a driver close behind him in Danico, who is in within 0.3 of a second. We've got Lundell sitting pretty, I'd say, in P3 on those set of hard tyres. Got another driver into the pits, that is Stephen Fruhar in the Haas car. So he's also pitting onto the mediums. Is that maybe to protect the undercut attempt from Your Heart Hurts? But he's quite far ahead of him anyway, so that probably isn't to do with it. But yeah, a lot of soft drivers now putting on a set of medium tyres here at the British Grand Prix. Wonder how abrasive this circuit is being today.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it before, especially with the Pirelli rubber, that it's not a fan of a Silverstone tarmac, is it?
No, not at all.
But something I will point out as well is it doesn't look like there's a whole bunch of difference between the compounds pace-wise. These hard tyres that Lundell is running currently in P3 seem to be able to hold on to the back with the help of DRS to the softer mediums, which is a remarkable feat compared to, if you I cast your mind back a couple of years ago to the super hard compound which was introduced here at Silverstone. But,
only a few drivers ever used them.
Yeah.
And I believe Nico Hulkenberg was one of the drivers in the race that used them. The only driver in that race to use those tyres. Never saw them again. They were never used ever again,
Yeah.
which you can understand why, because they had literally no grip at all, apparently.
Yeah. It's one of those, but Danico looking to ensure that his soft compounded tyre will be able to take him up into P1 past Sanya in the Ferrari. But we saw it before and we saw it again. Sanya will not be happy about that. And Danico ends up coming into the pits.
Yeah, he clearly heard that he wasn't happy about it and was scared what Sanger might do, so he dived into the pits. But I imagine that was just to use a bit more of a sort of slipstream effect and pull in front of Sanger. And now for Danico is, will he come out near our first pit stop of Your Heart Hurts? He went 2 extra laps on those set of soft tyres than Your Heart Hurts did. Your Heart Hurts is about to come round the final corner here in the Alpine car. I think Danico might have actually done it. He gets in front of the car. It's going to be very close. It's going to be very close indeed, actually. Your Heart Hurts through the first corner. Danico just getting out of the pits now. Doesn't pull it off. Doesn't keep in front of the car behind. Undercut attempt, really powerful around here. Actually, also, Danico just got in front of the 2 Haas cars there as well, who also made the pit stops, and that was definitely the right time to pit for Danico.
Yeah, it goes to show how vulnerable you are to the undercut, regardless of the circuit. It's so strong on this game. There's no way to say it otherwise. You can't really understate it. It's just really strong, and it's definitely the way most drivers will think. So perhaps looking to the future, you got both Red Bull cars up here. Split strategy, one on hard, one on mediums. If you're Dustin, when do you want to pull the trigger?
Well,
now.
That's when I pull the trigger. But yeah, so Dustin into the pits there. Now that is Sanger's cue to say, "Oh God, it's pitting time." Unless he really thinks he can hold out until the rain.
Yeah,
this is the real case for Sanger. If he wants to pit right now, if he pits this lap, there's a chance he'll still come out in front of Dustin. If he doesn't, he is preying on that rain being so heavy, it forces everyone behind him into the pits, and he can pit for a set of wets as well. So this is the real choice. I think Lundell and Sparky are in the best position here on those set of hard tyres. They can go until that rain comes down.
Absolutely. Going bold on the strategy at the start and picking a harder compound knowing you're putting yourself at risk in case any contact happens, that you're going to have to suffer through it and drive until the rain comes. A very ballsy strategy, but my word, does it look like it's paying off for Lundell and Sparky, who are still within the DRS range of Sanya. But this is, as you mentioned, Sanya's time to push, Sanya's time to go for it.
Well, unless he's not boxing.
Surely not.
He has to. If I was him right now, I'd have to box, because you've got cars behind you that are going 10 times quicker on fresh set of tyres. And that's not just including Dustin, who's pitted. That's including Danico. That's including Stephen Fruhar. That's including your rival in this race, Johan Hertz, who is now in 8th place, having made a really quick set of laps. And the Mercedes looking to get past, maybe not. Are we going to see Sanger pull into the pits here? No, Sanger carries on. Well, now this is a risk. I think he's praying for rain.
So if you're Sanya in this position, you know the 2 cars behind are going to end up getting the better tyres, right? It's natural. The harder compounds will last longer and give them more grip towards the dying stages where the track's going to become really slippy. Do you just try and back these drivers up into the cars which are on the fresher mediums? Is that the strategy that Ferrari might be trying to implement here?
It might be. It's a very risky strategy. I think the Mercedes now knows that Sanger is waiting for rain, and he'll want to pass the Ferrari straight away, and Sanger doesn't even fight that one. Sanger is more than content to let the Mercedes driver through, as Lundell takes the lead of the British Grand Prix. Mercedes obviously had a lot of success around here in recent years with Lewis Hamilton, and we've got 3 constructors. The main 3 constructors of Formula 1, you might say, Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull, battling for the podium places here at Silverstone.
So far, we do obviously have to keep in mind that some drivers have pit, and other drivers perhaps are trying to hold it out and pray that this rain is an absolute torrential downpour, which, let's be honest, it's Silverstone. There's always a chance.
It's going to be disappointing if the rain doesn't come down, isn't it? But we might have a 3-way fight battle here, as Sanger looks to go up round the outside of the Mercedes driver. There's a Red Bull on his inside, though. He can't force his way all the way around. And that Red Bull, I think, is still around his outside. No, he can't be anymore, because that is a squeeze by Sanger.
Lundell with a little slide.
And through goes Sanger into the Hamilton straight. He retakes the lead of the British Grand Prix. I feel like I've done that before. That might be deja vu right there. But the Ferrari is the lead of the British Grand Prix.
David Croft, get the trademark on it. Nevertheless, Sanger back in the lead on those medium compounded tyres. And, I mean, perhaps maybe everything
up the inside! Ooh. Sorry, the Red Bull up the inside of Lundell. He went for a late lunge. We saw Charles Leclerc do that in 2022, when he tried to get past Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, that was close indeed. Sorry for interrupting you.
No worries. I'll tell you what, we've also seen that move, which will remind me of a happier time back in 2020 with Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. Absolutely sending one.
It was 2019.
2019, that'll be the one.
2020 was the year you don't want to remember as a Ferrari fan.
Right, okay. Don't bring it up, please.
Anyway, back to the racing. Sparky. Now, this is the real question. Sparky and Lundell, both on a set of hards, they don't want to spend time battling each other there. They're going to let Sanger drive off into the distance. They're obviously not on the same team, but they're on the same strategy, and they're now going to use a lovely double slipstream to try and pass the Ferrari. They may not even need double. Lundell might only need single. Will Sparky go to the inside now? He goes up the inside of the Ferrari driver. He brakes incredibly late, but not late enough. Lundell dives into the pits. On a set of hards before Sanger does, and he gets a 5-second time penalty for his troubles. Oh, that is tragic. That's tragic for the Mercedes driver.
No, we saw it on Sunday with a Ferrari team. That 5 seconds thankfully didn't cost him too much, but you can imagine how close this grid is. The hard tyres being took 15 laps until Lundell ended up having a really big moment. Makes you really wonder what Sanya's done in his little Sanya train to keep his tyres so well maintained.
Well, where is Lundell going to come out into the race? He's on the fresher tyres, on a set of medium tyres. Going to come out behind Adam, as we have a retirement in the pit lane of, I believe that's the Williams. So a double DNF for Williams here at the British Grand Prix. That is not what you want to be saying. Very famous history around this circuit, Williams does, but both of them out here on the 15th lap of the race.
Yeah, it's a huge disappointment for the Williams team. It's unfortunate, but The drivers come in every single week and give it their all. Relentless practice throughout the week. Sometimes it's just not your week, and for the Williams team, it's not been their day. Perhaps maybe not their week, but I'm sure they'll come back next time stronger. You'll have to.
Sparky takes the lead.
Yeah, you'll have to stay tuned for next week to find out if Williams fans can reroute them and cheer them on a little bit more.
Sparky takes the lead and got in front of Sanger, who's also in the pits now. Well, they both pitted on lap 15
now,
for a new set of tyres.
I don't want to be that one, right, as a Ferrari fan, but I don't like the odds of a pit crew here.
Well, it's Red Bull versus Ferrari, Ferrari versus Red Bull. Let's see who gets out in front.
Soft tyres for Sanya.
Sanger, he gets out behind Sparky. Now that is the play. If that rain is coming, a fresh set of soft tyres will do 10 times better than a new set of mediums, as your heart hurts takes third place. Where is Sanger going to come out, though?
A while back, surely. We might
He's
be
going to come out
behind Daniel.
Behind Lundell.
Oh my, has Lundell just played the strategy MasterCard here?
Lundell into 9th. He does have that 5-second time penalty now. Sanger is down into 12th on the grid. Wow,
Ooh,
that is shocking.
Obviously, we mentioned the undercut being potently powerful, and around a track where DRS is such a crucial component to being able to pump in the quick lap times, race after race. 70% full throttle for a reason. I mean, realistically, Sanya's got a lot of work to do here if he's looking for a hope of winning the race, let alone getting a podium, as his teammate moves aside for him, thankfully.
Especially if that rain comes down. Now, let's have a look at our two new P1 and P2. Nadi Perez is leading the race here for Alpine, with our AlphaTauri driver of, I can't pronounce that name, Yannick, I'd say. That's how I'd probably say it.
I would say Yannick, yeah.
Yannick, he's currently 2nd place. Now, our AlphaTauri, they're waiting for the rain. These two are waiting for the rain now. Your Heart Hurts is catching them slowly, but with lap 17 of 26. Now, the rules state in Formula 1 that you have to use at least 2 different tyre compounds during a race weekend unless there is rain.
Yep.
And
that's
these two that are 1 and 2 right now have not pitted into the race. If their rain does not come down, they will have to box and drop all the way down the order. They need that rain to come down and come down as hard as it possibly can, which will be insane if that rain does come down now, because on lap 17 I'm starting to think that it's not coming down.
Yeah, I'll say give it lap 19. If it's still not coming down by lap 19, I don't think it's coming. I think they might have told you a little fib in the weather booth.
I must have been lied to. The weather gods have lied to me.
But someone who hasn't been lied to and who's actually driven to the potential he is capable of is Stephen Fruffart in my house.
Yes.
Now, we've mentioned it before, Fruffart is a phenomenal driver, very quick, partially consistent. He'll have days, he'll have little wobbles, perfectly natural. It's all part of growing and developing.
Everyone does. Everyone does.
It's one of those things. But Fruffart here, making the most of his day, currently rocking P5.
In that very nice Haas livery, I must say, I do like the Haas livery this year. I'm quite a fan of it. But Stephen Fruffart trying to get into P4. He does have P4 as it stands because Danny Coe does have a time penalty. We see the AlphaTauri dive into the pits. He and AlphaTauri are not willing to wait for the rain now. They think it's not coming. Nadi Perez, on the other hand, has 10 seconds to his teammate. He's an Alpine 1-2 as it stands. And it might stay at Alpine 1-2. Sparky with the fastest lap of the race. Everyone hold your breath because we're going to see some absolute chaos in the final couple of laps here at the British Grand Prix. We always do. The final couple of laps are always a bit of chaos. How are those tyres feeling right now for Nadi Perez? Maybe how they felt for Lewis Hamilton in 2020 during the British Grand Prix.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully we won't be able to see a tyre pop here. Fingers crossed for Nadi with that 10-second buffer. It's a big buffer, but we saw earlier in the week how quickly these tyres fall off the cliff and how much they degrade. They'll have their little windows where they're, drivable. There's still a bit of grip on them. And then all of a sudden, boom, gone. Completely gone. And it'll be for whether the rain can come down in time for Nadi to be able to jump off those hard tyres before that happens. Because otherwise...
Sanger's just made a move. He's up into P7. I believe He did the Verstappen Hamilton moment, but without the Verstappen Hamilton moment involved.
That is awfully impressive. It's a bit of a shame we weren't able to get it on stream. Sparky and Dustin swap positions round. Sanya is on an absolute hunt here.
Sanya knows that he needs to use these softs as quickly as he can because everyone else is on the worst tyre. Switchback of dreams from Sanya now. Up the inside of Dustin. Dustin did his best for Sparky, his teammate, but there's only so much a driver can do. As Lundell is up the inside of Daniel. Daniel started on pole position in this race. He's now in 8th position with Lundell in front, behind him, actually. Lap 19. Only a few laps to go, and this rain is not appearing.
You know, I said give it until lap 19. We've given it until lap 19. There's still no rain. The clouds are getting darker.
They are, but is
No rain.
Is the rain going to come out too late for Nardi Perez?
As one of the things, it's a huge gamble to risk it on the strategy. 9.6 seconds ahead, lost half a second in that last lap. Oh, it's close, isn't it? It is very close.
It's squeaky bum time for Nardi Perez. He needs that rain to come down, like,
now.
Ridiculously hard. If it's going to come down, it needs to just shoot down dramatically. But as we said, this race is done in quarters. The last quarter of this race was going to be heavy rain,
which should theoretically be the last 6 laps, but Nardi decides better of it.
He's not risking it. He's not risking it. Which, you know what? I don't know if I would at this point. If you can keep the car on the track, then this won't be an issue. Unless Nardi's pulling off the 500 IQ plane, he's putting onto full wet tyres. But I imagine he's putting on... Lundell's in the pits again. 5-second time penalty again. Retires in the pits. I imagine that's because they believe their race is completely over, which is a shame. Nardi Perez is on a set of softs. He's not onto inters. He's on a set of softs. He will be the fastest man on circuit, definitely. As we see Sparky trying to go around the outside, down the inside of the
Danico,
McLaren. Yeah. He's trying to go around the outside now. There's another car up the inside of Sangha. It's very close between these 3 drivers, and DRS will be enabled on Sangha. Can he dive up the inside? He can. Oh, he doesn't have the ERS to do so unless he breaks incredibly late. And he does make the move. Sparky into the podium places. And we'll be looking to chase down the Haas driver in front. Sanya is looking pretty good in his Haas car at the moment. As actually we see a Red Bull go very slowly there for Adam. A Ferrari. Adam's dropped down into 14th now. As Sparky is right behind the back of Stephen Fruhar, by the way. Right behind him.
Right behind. Oh my word, he is right behind. Obviously, the Aero Rigs tried to eliminate the dirty air so they can follow much closer, and there is a prime example of it. Sparky pulling to the left here. DRS activated. Should be able to cruise past the P2 here. Not much Steven can do on those older medium tyres.
And Sparky now has 2.2 seconds to the car in front. Can Red Bull pick up what will be quite a victory here at Silverstone? Lap 20 of 26. The rain is not coming by the looks of it. I've definitely been lied to in terms of rain coming down. But anyway, Sparky, 2 seconds now. That gap is coming down incredibly fast. These tyres are struggling on Your Heart Hurts. And is his heart going to break by the end of this lap?
I mean, it might do, but surely he's still got another lap or 2 to give. As Sanya on the soft tyres surely is thinking, maybe, just maybe, I shouldn't be on these softs. Maybe I should have just, you know, started on the hards. Maybe picking mediums at the start was probably the bad decision. But he's able to get his way past Danico.
That's a little snap, though. He makes his way past Danico. He's now into 4th. There is still a chance for a podium here for the Swiss man. If he can make his way past Stephen Fruhar. And possibly, if Your Heart Hurts does have his tyres drop off completely, possibly past him as well. The track has got a lot darker in the last couple of laps. But are we just going to see a massive downpour on the last lap and everyone's going to just sort of tiptoe back to the pit lane?
I hope not. These drivers have shown great racing so far. And the last thing I necessarily want to see is a bunch of drivers ended up having all that hard work squandered and ending up in a puddle on the side of a track. Because some of these drives have been absolutely fantastic. You've got the likes of Sparky. Daniel's had a great recovery drive after his incident. It's been good.
So late on the brakes there for Sangha. He's still got the grip compared to the medium runner of Stephen Fruha. Lap 22. Now, something I would like to mention is these laps, you might think, oh, we're getting close to the end of the race. It's a long circuit here at Silverstone. We have still got quite a bit of racing to be seen. And if this rain is coming at the end of the race, it may come at one part of the circuit and then come to the other parts because of how large it is. It's the third largest track on the calendar as Adam picks up a 3-second time penalty. It's not been Adam's race as he's now 15th and at the back of the grid.
No, it's certainly not being Adam's race. And relatively speaking, with a strategy as well, you could say it's not Ferrari's race. Obviously, depending on how much Sanya can savour these soft tyres, as he has a little squirm coming out of left field there. I mean, if you want to squirm anywhere at Silverstone, it'll be left field, but if he ends up having a moment like that through Cops, he might be in a bit of trouble. But it seems alright. He's recovered it. Got to get the tyre temps down. The track still looks like it's getting cooler, but there is no sign of this rain. With 4 laps to go here.
I've been lied to. I'm very upset that this rain has not come down as it stands. You're also leading the race. 1.5 seconds it's come down to. Stephen Fruha still in DRS of Sparky in front. I expected Sparky to absolutely close up to our leader. Dustin has also made his way up into 6th now as well. As we are on to lap 23. And as Your Heart Hurts crosses the line, with 3 laps to go here, Sparky is on the charge. Let's ride on board with Sparky as you see how much more grip he has through these first couple of corners. And wait, hang on, is that rain? That is rain.
Oh,
it is
no.
raining here at Silverstone.
Oh, we've got it.
With 3 laps to go, like we had at Monaco this year in 2023, this rain is going to absolutely change the face of this Grand Prix.
Oh dear, this could spell tragedy for Sparky's race. If the DRS gets disabled and he's not able to use it, that'll be a whole world of pain for Sparky on the fresher medium tyres, which will have more grip in these treacherous conditions compared to Your Heart Hurts.
We have 2 drivers. We have 2 drivers who have braved the intermediate tyres here on lap 23, and you're probably thinking it at home, like, oh, what they pit onto Inters for? There's only 3 laps left. If the rain comes down, and I say comes down hard, everyone in front will be going 3 or 4 seconds slower than these guys on a set of Inter tyres. Let's just not count everyone out yet of this race. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, Sandy and Adam, they had relatively little to lose here. It's definitely worth an opportunity. It's definitely worth a gamble. Sanya is looking to gamble one down the inside here of Steven, trying to make moves as fast as possible.
It's risky in the wet. It's now really raining here at Silverstone. We got drivers in the pits. I think we got our leaders in the pits. 4th and 5th have pitted for Inters. It's all kicked off with 3 laps to go. These guys on older tyres have stayed out, and I don't know how to call this race now. How bad is that rain? If we can ride on board with one of the drivers at the front, and it is raining here at Silverstone.
Oh,
Is it raining cats and dogs though?
You can see
It's puddles are forming. Puddles are forming. It's full wet here at Silverstone with 2 laps to go.
Oh, dearie me. The strategy of the engineers right now are earning their paycheck here. Your Heart Hurts, Sparky, El Puma, Seb, Eric and Adam all on those Inters. Oh my word, look at this through Sector 2. It wouldn't surprise me if you're going to start seeing spray coming off these slick tyres, as Sanya is literally getting pushed around these corners by Fruha in the Haas. Oh my word.
I thought we were going to see it move up the inside. Surely not in the on a wet track on dry tyres. Not going to see it move up the inside of Klopp's corner. That would be absolutely ridiculous. But through Maggies and Beckett's, you'll see the lack of speed these drivers can take through this corner. They're going to be tiptoeing around. Look at how much Sanger is sliding through these corners and struggling with grip. We only have a few laps left here of the British Grand Prix. And I don't know how to call this one. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. We have a spinner. DRS is disabled. That usually means it's no longer dry tyres. Oh, look at the slide. As Danny Code goes up the inside of Stephen Fruha. How is Sanger keeping this on the circuit? He's not. He's not keeping it on the circuit.
Almost lost it there, but remember, Danny has this penalty. He's decided to get the pass done on Steven as Steven comes into the pits there with 2 laps remaining on this race. Very bold call. Sanya, is it bolder to stay out here? Perhaps.
I think it is bolder to stay out. I don't know what Sanya is doing. He thinks he can't be caught. I don't know if he can be. Who's the closest driver on intermediate tyres? It will be...
10 seconds down the road, it's through far. So far,
It's-
at least.
Well, no, it's Your Heart Hurts will take fifth place. So, with a lap to go, 10 seconds to the lead. Danico goes up the inside on a wet. Oh, he's sliding! He's not going to make that at all.
Danny!
Danico's round. What was that? That
Oh.
was incredibly late on the break.
That was a risk.
Daniel's back up into second.
I'll tell you what as well, Timo here out of nowhere has found himself in 4th place with 7 seconds behind him. He was able to lose less than 3 seconds a lap, and that sounds like an awful lot, but in these conditions, my word of a tiptoeing.
What is Sanya? How is Sanya keeping this on the straight and narrow? He is going to be just tiptoeing around this circuit. It's so easy as well to get a invalidation on a lap time here. With it being wet, you got to make sure you don't lose the rear end at all. He's doing it nicely though. But look at the gap between Your Heart Hurts and Timo. It's coming down, and it's coming down very quickly. I don't know how long these inters will be fast around it. Look at the line that Sanya has made through the track. Sanya though has got a lap left to go here at the British Grand Prix. He's got 5 seconds advantage to the car behind. The man you got to all keep an eye on is Your Heart Hurts, who is 2 seconds behind Timo and quite a few seconds behind the rest of the gap. Timo's spun. Timo's round. He's got one less car to overtake. Sanya is on the final lap of the race here. Can he keep the lead of the British Grand Prix? Is how quickly Your Heart Hurts can go. Sanya is struggling so much here.
It's so close to a call. This is 2020-esque, but without a puncher. It's just with the rain. This is so close here. Sanya so tentative on the throttle, already in 6th gear and still can't go full throttle coming out of Aintree. Being able
Your Heart Hurts made the move. He's into 3rd.
Oh no, you can see him. You can see him in the background. Oh no, someone will start playing the Jaws theme.
Sanya's not going to do it. It's too wet now. This is all over. Surely for the Ferrari man. Look at the grip that Your Heart Hurts has. He's round the outside of Daniel. And
slicing and dicing his way through. Oh no, Sanya.
Sanya knows that his time may be coming up here. He's got half a lap to go. There is Sanya. There is Your Heart Hurts in the background. Sparky's also made his way up into 3rd. We've got another yellow flag. Timo spun again. 3 seconds of the gap now between Your Heart Hurts as he goes through Magnus and Beckett. You can see on board with the Alpine man how close he is. Sanya is struggling so much
Look at
now.
that Ferrari! It looks like a GT3 car.
He doesn't have any grip. This is Your Heart Hurts moment, surely. He's got more corners than he does straights left. And Your Heart Hurts has one opportunity to get past the Ferrari. And look at the grip round the outside. Sanya can't do anything. And he loses the lead of the race. Your Heart Hurts takes 1st place. Will he lose 3rd? He might lose 2nd. Round the outside. Go Sparky. Oh, Sanya's round. Sanya's turned round. Your Heart Hurts wins the British Grand Prix. Sparky is into 2nd. Stephen Fruha has taken 3rd. And Sanya's lost all of his positions. Down to 4th. And he can't believe it. In 1 lap, he went from lead of the race to off the podium. As we see Al Puma into the wall. Oh my goodness me.
Oh my word. What an end so far to this race. Danny Coco's across the line on those medium tyres. He'll get relegated down. Nardi Perez ended up with a DNF there. Timo coming across on the soft compounded tyre, which did him so well for so much of this race. We can breathe.
Sanya lost a lead of the race that he was leading through Copse Corner. He was leading at the end of the Hanger Straight, and by the end of the final corner, he was in 4th place.
That's got to hurt Sanya. So unfortunate there. But Sparky, driver of the day. Personally, I'd agree with it. I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
I'm lost for words. Napadovsky. New name, new Napadovsky. Same old driving style. Coming out P1.
That was a risk as well. He made such a risk pitting onto those tyres, and it could have not worked for him. But the Alpine team do get a driver for a victory here at the British Grand Prix, and we'll let them celebrate their victory now. As there is your winner of the British Grand Prix. There's your podium for the British Grand Prix. It's Sanya. Sorry, not Sanya. Sanya finishes in 4th. Your Heart Hurts, or also known as Napadowski, will take another victory here in Formula 6.
Yeah, Stephen Fruffar, a great drive as well, but Sparky just ended up pipping him in my books, getting the fastest lap to secure it. But my
Sparky,
word.
17th to
Yeah.
2nd. Oh, and he made that pass for second on the final lap of the final corner. And Stephen Fruhar just made it into 3rd as well.
You talk about strategy. My word. Daniel, again, another great mention with a brilliant recovery drive. Oh, I feel like we're going to have to wait and see what the stewards think about some of these, though, to be honest with you. There's a fair few instances.
Yeah. I think Sanya will have something to say about that final corner.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But I wonder if those one of those things where, you get to the final corner and you have to try and defend it because you're going to lose 2nd place. But I wonder if he had no grip. You saw how much extra grip the intermediate tyres had compared to those dry tyres.
One thing is for certain, I end up having extra grip when I sit on the GT Omega racing chair.
Ah. Get back on. I took it off after that race.
Yeah, you took the jacket off after the race. I took the hat off during qualifying, mate. You're absolutely fine. Do not worry about it. But my word, what a great race.
Yeah, that was quite incredible, that ending. But, not just the ending. That whole race was brilliant. We had overtakes throughout the whole thing. And the rain right at the end spiced things up. And I think there's going to be a lot of talking after the race about, strategies, who got it right, who got it wrong. But the man at the end, Your Heart Hurts, or as we know him, Napadowski, did get that Grand Prix victory. And it seemed unlikely. Well, he's battling for the lead. He pits onto what was probably at the time the unfavored strategy. Turns out it was the favored strategy.
That's why we're not engineers.
That's why we're not engineers, because we would have got it wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, insane race. And the rain at the end, I honestly thought for a time that those inter runners were going to have troubles as well. But even if you're running inters on a wet track against a set of tyres that are better than slicks, a lot of British, like I've done racing in the UK as well, when you have to prepare to drive in the slicks all the time. But when the rain comes down, but yeah, that is crazy. There's nothing you can do when a guy has 10 times the grip you do around the outside.
It's one of those unfortunate things. I'm sure Sanya will be talking to his engineers after this race, trying to discuss why they weren't called in to go on the intermediate tyres when they saw the weather forecast. Surely there was a calculated risk to stay out. Surely at that point, though, it would have been better to go onto the medium.
Yeah, it's also one of those things where you look at the AlphaTauri driver who was sitting in 2nd place, and he's on those hards that have run so long. And if you just think you wait a couple more laps and you get that rain come down.
Literally 3 more laps and that rain would have come down for the perfect time to switch to the inters.
Same with the Alpine driver as well. They could have had a 1-2.
Yeah, Nardi Perez really missed an opportunity there. But obviously, they had a plan in their head. They had a game plan. They had a set mind state. That was the plan. That's what they went and did. And to be quite honest, for some drivers it didn't work out. For some drivers it did. But that's the glory of Silverstone. And that's the glory of the British Grand Prix. That doesn't matter what you come with. Doesn't matter how much you prepare. The rain's coming.
And rain's coming. And that is another race for F6. Done and ticked off the calendar. And I think where we're going next, we won't be needing these suits in our next country we're going to, because it might be a bit too hot.
Just a little bit too hot. Do you have any idea of where we're going? I mean, I hope you booked the ticket this time, right?
Well, yeah. We got the train here from Bahrain.
Yeah.
Well, it was a buy one get one free for a journey, and
oh no, you didn't, did you?
We can get the train back to the Middle East to Qatar, which is where the next race is. But yeah, it means we're going back on that train again.
I don't want to go all the way around Budapest. Can we not just try and swap it for a ticket to Spa or something on the way there?
Well, I think it might go to Spa. I haven't checked.
Okay.
It's a bit tricky. They also say it's buy one get one free, but they were very loose on the details. And I signed a bunch of forms, so I don't know really what I've signed.
Oh, okay, so you just signed our life away.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we're going to end up going all the way around the world on a rail track and end up in Qatar for 8 o'clock next week, which will be interesting. I've not seen too much of a Qatar track. Obviously, done a couple laps on it. Can't say I'm a huge fan, but
I love it. I personally think it's my favourite track.
I can see how it can make for some really great racing.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, that is for next week. Better come dressed in a Qatari outfit. Not gonna sweat to death in a suit.
No, I'm not sitting in a suit in Qatar.
But boy, it was a spiffing race today, no?
Wasn't it just spiffing and brilliant and wet?
My word, absolutely splendid.
Splendid.
Sparky just joins the chat for that accent there. Unfortunate. Yes. But yeah, no, absolutely brilliant drive from all the drivers, as always in F6 here at PSGL. But I don't think I've got too much left to add.
Nope, neither do I.
No, well then, I think it'll be Josh and Alex here at F6. Over and out, and we'll see you 8 o'clock next week for a beautiful Qatar Grand Prix.
Yes.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside up here. He's through on the left hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the ghost is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.